going to replace the timing belt on this because it's well overdue. And this thing was making a noise. Might be the turbo unit. It's clacking. So we're gonna. What I did was I checked around and listened to everything while it was running, and it's intermittent, that clacking, and it does sound very possible it could be the turbo unit. But when it's when I went around the whole engine listening to it, it sounds like it's coming from the timing cover in there somewhere. So I'm going to start by doing that, because I'm going to do that anyway, is the timing belt. And hopefully, keep my fingers crossed, it will take care of the noise too. If not, we're going to have to go deeper and take care of the turbo. The turbo is leaking, however. It's got a small leak right where it meets up to the catalytic converter and the turbo unit meet together. That gasket there is gone kaput. So just move the stuff that you need to move to get stuff. You got to remove the clamps, the wires, unplug stuff. You might want to mark them if you're going to be away from them for a long time, because it's just easier to put them back together if you mark everything. But I don't think I need to mark this. I'm pretty familiar with this kind of stuff. There's a bolt right here that holds the power steering reservoir in place. I'm going to disconnect the hose on this side over here and try and move it out of my way over here. Probably have to get some kind of a plug for that hole over there. That's what we're doing here. We're going to go ahead and replace the water pump while we're in there. So I usually drain the cooling system first, but I was diagnosing other problems with this as well. So, but anyway, I'm going to drain it now before I disconnect the bottle there. As you can see, I drained the radiator. You can see we moved the water bottle out of the way. It has two screws. One that holds it right there. One screw right there and one screw right there hold the water bottle in place. And then of course the one bolt holds the power steering reservoir right there. I got it plugged off. I kind of got it stuffed under there just to help hold it out of the way, to keep out of my way so I can get to that. So it looks like, yeah, we're going to be able to do the timing cover without having to remove the, like the book said, you got to remove the headlight and the grill and stuff so you can get the headlight assembly out of the way to move that tube. But I think we can get to the bottom tube and pull it off and access everything we need to. So I'll be pulling them out and supporting the engine here in a sec. So I'm going to pause you guys for a bit and be right back. Okay, it looks like to remove the mount, we got to remove this bracket here, which is the mount bracket for the, well, that's actually just a kind of a stabilizer. I'm not sure what it's for, because the aluminum part on the mount is threaded for the power steering reservoir. But anyway, this bracket has to be removed, or at least that one taken off back there. I'm going to remove them both because it's not that big a deal. 2 bolts, no biggie. And then these 2 bolts and these 2 bolts. So those 4 bolts and those 2 bolts, and this should move out of the way. Like I said, you're going to want to support the engine with something. They got the kind of engine supports that go across up here, which work nice in some cases. The floor jack works optimal for this if you don't need your floor jack somewhere else. A bottle jack with a block would work as well. Just whatever you want to support your engine with, just make sure it's on there good and safe. Alright, I'm going to get my wrenches and zap that out of there. So after removing the 2 bolts from there, and the 2 bolts there and there, and the bracket that was right here to that hole back there, from here to here, remove that bracket from there to there, those 2 bolts and those 2 bolts, and this piece lifts right out. So now you got to get this out of the way. And I think that can be done by probably jacking the motor up and bringing it up high enough to access the bolts. Okay, my calculations weren't correct on this. Jockeyed it around, got to the bolts. This seems almost like an impossible task to get out. So what I'm going to try to do now is, well, I removed the tensioner pulley. I removed the tensioner pulley. I don't know how good the lighting is there on that. This is the tensioner pulley. I removed it, 3 bolts. The 3 bolts here, go in those 3 holes there. The book did say to remove that. I was wondering, well, gee, it doesn't look like you have to, but maybe you have to. Because maybe I can move that center cover right there. And if I can move this center cover out of the way, then I might be able to get that out. I don't know, but that's a bear. Maybe you got to work around it. I don't get it, but maybe slide the belt. I had a friend tell me he did one of these, and he's left it in there and just worked the belt around it. I suppose some Volkswagen experts got some slick way of doing this. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'll figure it out along the way. But anyway, on and forward. So the next task is, oh, thought I'd mention this before I get in too deep. Haven't messed with any of the tensioners. And can you see that? Can you see the slop in the belt there? Let me see if I can get my light twisted around a little better. You see that belt? Look at that. That's just amazing that it didn't skip a tooth. So anyway, I'm going to work on this cover here for a bit, see what I can figure out. I'll be right back. Okay, I still haven't been able to get our fun little engine mount bracket off the engine mount. But what I noticed is the bottom sprocket for the timing belt doesn't have a mark on it anywhere that I can find. And the book tells you that there's a mark on these things, and there's a little divot in the top. I put one on the front to make it easier for me to see, but back here there's a little notch cut, which is your mark, and I marked it with some white. And then on the cover as well, there's a notch right back up. One thing kind of good with this, it got some Allen, some hex heads inside it, female hex heads, to get the 4 bolts out. The center bolt doesn't really hold it in, so I left that torqued into the crank so where it stays there. I'm going to line the timing belt up right now while it's like that, before I take it apart. Get all the notches lined up where they're supposed to be. Makes it easier to find top dead center that way. As long as the belt isn't broke, as you can see, I got my timing line marked off there, and then of course the bottom one. Once again, that bottom pulley down there doesn't have the very bottom one sprocket there doesn't have a mark on it. What it does is it has a little nipple on the face, but usually there's a wear mark there that shows like dirt or something where the other hole was, and you'll want to put it back together just like that. And of course we're going to want to replace that water pump. I'll zoom in on it. That's going to take, it looks like four, maybe 5 bolts. It's 4, I think. And there was 4 holding the dampener on the bottom pulley. And yes, I still haven't got that stupid bracket out. Now, one of you guys out there watching, hopefully maybe you're watching on this channel having a good laugh at me or something. But in any case, could you please let me know if there's a trick to getting those out for the next one I do. I'm just going to have to wrestle this one like I would a bear for a while, just to get my stuff out of there. It looks like hopefully that water pump won't be too tough. It looks like it's just 3 or 4 bolts and should come out of there. I mean, I can move this thing around somewhat, get it out of my way and peel it back, but it looks like to do this timing belt, I'm going to end up leaving it in there and just working with it however I can. It's like I finagled the old belt out, and that's right there. I'm going to try and get the new one on that way too, but I'm going to replace the the idler pulley there and the tensioner. There's supposed to be a new tensioner in the case, so I'm going to replace the water pump, this pulley here, and that is, see, that's what the problem is here. That was the rattle that we originally. So my calculations were correct when, you know, they'd been to another shop and they told them it was the turbo unit. And of course, when you bring a car to me, you can tell me whatever you want, and my experience has taught me I got to start from square one and check everything out before I just start replacing stuff. So, and yeah, I got it diagnosed, and this is, you see, this ain't supposed to be flopping in the breeze like that. Something's supposed to be holding that in place, and I don't know what it is at this point. Probably the tensioner's broke. Yeah, it looks like it's gone kaput here or something. Yeah, I think something's missing there. Something ain't right. I don't know what it is yet, but I'll figure it out. I got new stuff to put in, so that's good news. Anyway, that's what I got going on so far. So, like I said, this will be up and finished and done and running by the time somebody does let me know if there's a slick way to get it on, but I still want to know what way that is of getting that out. I mean, it looks like maybe when I pull the water pump off, I might be able to get it out of there. But that means I'll be pulling the water pump off, getting it out of there, then being able to access the tensioner the way I should be able to. And then I'll have to slip it back in, then put the water pump back on. Interesting, huh? Is that a Farfignugan, or whatever they call these things? Volkswagens? Is that's a Volkswagen idea representing. Alright. Here's the new water pump going to go in. I can't get over these plastic impellers, but anyway, I guess everything's made of plastic these days. Only 3 bolts hold it on. Go something like that right there. And that's it. 3 bolts hold it on. Oh, and then we've got like a rubber O-ring type deal here that goes around here. That's the seal. It doesn't usually use a gasket. What I like to do is I'll take a little bit of silicone and put it on my finger and put it around the outside edge just nicely. It's just a super thin coat, just to help it slide in to place. You know, it's not really for the seal so much as it is to slide in, but it also does help, you know, with any imperfections that might happen in there. You don't put a blob on there or nothing. I mean, you can. It probably wouldn't hurt nothing. But I always just like to put a thin coat around there, and the reason for that is to help it slide in the hole easy. And it helps seal it up too. Okay, so the water pump's out. I took it out, had the 3 bolts. Yeah, a lot more than a little bit comes out of there. This is our noise maker here. I don't believe it's supposed to be that sloppy. You can see that, but that's how sloppy it is. There just wasn't, that's just hardly any tension. I'm pretty sure it's got to have more pressure than that. But even still, even if that is the amount of pressure, that kind of slop right there is just enough. That's the noise it was making. Sounded just like a bracket was loose. That thing was getting louder and louder. So anyway, it looks like we did. Now my calculations were correct. This doggone thing, I don't know what to say about this. I feel like writing them a laugh. Holy mackerel, Batman! Look at this. This is. I mean, please, if somebody knows something about this, please let me know. Leave a comment on how the heck you're supposed to get that out of there. I've got the water pump out and can't get it out. I imagine maybe this tensioner, when it comes out or something, I might be able to get it out. I don't know. But anyway, like I said, I'm not a Volkswagen expert, but I work on. I'm not just an Audi expert. I'm not just a BMW guy. I mean, I pretty much fix anything as long as I got a book and some references. and some specifications and wiring diagrams and vacuum diagrams, I got all that, then sure, I can fix it. But you know, it's just sometimes there's sometimes a little special trick or something that they have for these cars. I know on a few others it can be pretty simple. Like I thought a heater core on a BMW was bad, but it ended up being a cakewalk with this. This one's got me stumped. I've had it jacked up a mile high. I mean, the only thing else I could do is remove all the mounts and lift the engine way up and get it out. Right now I'm confused, so maybe you're supposed to do it with it in there. The book doesn't say so. The book says remove it, but I can't figure out how. So please, somebody tell this guy, say, hey, laugh at me, whatever you got to do, but let me know.